Have you ever wondered if the money in your pocket, the US dollar, could one day lose its crown? What if I told you a quiet revolution is already underway, led by some of the world's fastest-growing economies? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a massive economic shift that could change everything you know about money, trade, and power. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand not just what's happening, but how you can potentially navigate these changes to your advantage. Let's start with the basics. For decades, the US dollar has been the king of global finance. It's the world's primary reserve currency, meaning central banks everywhere hold vast amounts of it. Oil, gold, and most international goods are priced in dollars. This gives the United States immense economic and political leverage. But what happens when a powerful group of nations decides to build their own system? Enter BRICS. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Together, they represent over 40% of the world's population and a significant chunk of the global economy. And they've been making some very calculated moves to de-dollarize. This isn't about destroying the dollar overnight, but rather about creating alternatives and reducing their dependence on it. Why? For one, it shields them from US sanctions. When your entire economy runs on a currency controlled by another country, you're vulnerable. By trading in their own currencies, they gain economic sovereignty. So how are they doing it? First, through bilateral trade agreements. Imagine India buying oil from Russia. Instead of converting rupees to dollars and then dollars to rubles, they're now settling these trades directly in rupees and rubles. China and Brazil have a similar deal. China and Saudi Arabia are exploring trading oil in yuan. Each of these deals on its own is a small step. But together, they create a growing network of trade that completely bypasses the US dollar. It's like building a new set of highways while the old ones are still in use. Gradually, more and more traffic starts using the new routes. Then there's the New Development Bank, or NDB. Think of it as the BRICS alternative to the World Bank, and the IMF, which are traditionally dominated by the US and Europe. The NDB is already funding massive infrastructure projects across the developing world. And it's doing so by lending in local currencies. This is huge. It means a country in Africa could get a loan in South African rand or Chinese yuan to build a new port, instead of a dollar-denominated loan that gets more expensive if the dollar strengthens. It empowers developing nations and further chips away at the dollar's dominance in global lending. And let's talk about gold. It's the oldest form of money for a reason. Central banks see it as the ultimate safe haven asset, something that holds value no matter what happens to paper currencies. And guess who's been buying gold like there's no tomorrow?
You got it.
The central banks of China, Russia, and India have been aggressively increasing their gold reserves for years. This is a classic diversification strategy. They reducing their holdings of US Treasury bonds, which are basically IOUs from the US government, and swapping them for physical gold. It's a clear signal that they are preparing for a future where the dollar might not be as stable or as central as it is today. But the challenge to the dollar isn't just coming from BRICS. The game has multiple players. The euro, for example, has long been the number 2 currency in the world. The European Union is a massive economic bloc, and the euro is a stable, widely used currency. As the world looks for alternatives to the dollar, the euro is a natural and established choice for many countries and businesses to turn to. It already has the infrastructure and the trust needed to handle a larger share of global trade and reserves. And then there's the wild card, digital currencies. We're not just talking about Bitcoin. We're talking about central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. China is way ahead of the curve with its digital yuan. They've been testing it with millions of citizens. A CBDC could make international payments almost instantaneous and incredibly cheap, completely bypassing the current banking systems that rely on the dollar. Imagine sending money across borders as easily as sending a text message. If a digital yuan becomes widely adopted for international trade, it could present one of the most significant challenges the dollar has ever faced. It's a technological leap that could rewrite the rules of global finance. Okay, so we've got BRICS nations trading in their own currencies, a new development bank, massive gold purchases, the rise of the euro, and the dawn of digital currencies. The global financial system is clearly in a state of flux. It's a complex, slow-moving process, but the direction is undeniable. A shift away from a single dominant currency towards a more multipolar world with several key currencies and systems. This all sounds very high level, right? Central banks, global trade, geopolitics. What does any of this mean for the average person? How can you, sitting at home, actually benefit from these colossal shifts? This is where it gets really interesting, because with great change comes great opportunity. First, let's talk about diversification. It's the golden rule of investing, and it applies more than ever in a de-dollarizing world. If the value of the dollar could potentially decline over the long term relative to other currencies or assets, it doesn't make sense to have all your eggs in $1 denominated basket. Think about diversifying your savings and investments. This doesn't mean you should panic and sell all your dollars. It means being strategic. Consider assets that tend to perform well when a currency weakens. Precious metals like gold and silver have historically been a hedge against inflation and currency devaluation. As we saw, even central banks are hoarding gold for this very reason. Owning a small amount of physical gold or investing in gold-backed ETFs could be a prudent move to protect your purchasing power. Next, look beyond your home country's stock market. Investing in international markets, especially in the fast-growing economies of the BRICS nations and other emerging markets, can be a powerful diversification tool. As their economies grow and their currencies strengthen, investments in those countries could see significant returns. You can do this through international mutual funds or ETFs that give you exposure to a broad basket of companies in these regions. You're essentially betting on the growth of the new economic powerhouses. Also, educate yourself about different currencies. You don't have to become a professional forex trader, but having a basic understanding of how exchange rates work can be beneficial. In the future, you might find it advantageous to hold a portion of your savings in a stable foreign currency or invest in businesses that earn revenue in multiple currencies. And what about those digital currencies we mentioned? While the crypto market is volatile, the underlying blockchain technology is revolutionary. Learning about it and perhaps making a small, speculative investment in established cryptocurrencies or companies at the forefront of this tech could position you on the right side of a major technological shift. Think of it like investing in internet companies back in the late 90s. High risk, but potentially high reward for those who understood the long-term vision. Finally, the most valuable asset you can invest in is yourself. Develop skills that are in demand globally. In a more interconnected, multipolar world, skills like speaking a foreign language, understanding cross-cultural marketing, or expertise in international logistics will become even more valuable. Your ability to work and create value across borders is a personal hedge against the economic fortunes of any single country. The world is changing. The unipolar moment of the US dollar is being challenged from multiple angles. Not out of malice, but out of a natural evolution towards a more balanced global system. This isn't something to fear, it's something to understand and prepare for. By diversifying your assets, investing internationally, staying informed about new financial technologies, and investing in your own global skills, you can not only protect yourself from the risks, but also seize the incredible opportunities that this new era will bring. You can turn one of the biggest economic shifts of our lifetime into a personal win. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you a clear picture of what is happening and some practical ideas to think about. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. What are your thoughts on de-dollarization? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.